Welcome to the Real Academy, brought to you each Saturday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time by
the Resilience DoctHers,
Dr. Sheikah Houston and Dr. Tammy Taylor, best-selling authors, consultants, and speakers of Create and Educate LLC. Create and Educate LLC is an educational consultant and literary firm that provides professional development to schools and community. Their goal is to transform organizations with the REALL resilient framework used to increase their school report card grades 2 and 3 grade levels in 1 year. REALL stands for Respect, Excellence, Accountability, Literacy, and Leadership. This framework is used to coach leaders and teachers and build student efficacy while putting systems in place that aligns the work of the school improvement, making the process manageable. When the work is manageable, teachers and leaders don't stress out or burn out.
The Resilience DoctHers.
Alignment systems are designed to help schools evolve and grow, all while instituting protocols and processes designed to promote collaboration and collegiality. The implementation of the alignment framework prevents some of the most common problems in education, where leaders sometimes aren't sure where to start, or in our new age of educating, leaders need a trusted sounding board that allows them to be vulnerable and transparent, preventing loneliness at the top. The framework doesn't just help leaders, but also prevents teachers from burning out from too many initiatives and embracing teachers as they are the experts. Finally, the framework extends to the children, helping them get engaged in school and solving a nationwide problem. Alignment systems are frequently referred to as a key element of success in the improvement process. In the sport of rowing, all rowers must put their oars in the water, succinctly creating a system for their boat to reach maximum speed. So schools that want to improve are bringing in
the Resilience DoctHers
to teach them all about the alignment systems that must be in place for school improvement to be accomplished at high levels. The dynamic duo provides insights into educational topics through their international platform, which includes educators, parents, and community members as a way to support important entities that make communities thrive. This is their way to pay it forward and provide the support they needed through their platform. Take a look. People who work with
the Resilience
describe them as an
DoctHers.
excellent and inspiring group of leaders. They get into the weeds of work with leaders through their TrustMate Institute that you should contact them about today by filling out the contact form on their website.
It's Super Saturday, everyone. Welcome to episode 246 of the Real Academy, brought to you by Create and Educate with your very own Resilience DoctHers. I'm Dr. Sheikah Houston.
Good morning, everyone, and I'm Dr. Tammy Taylor, and we're excited to continue our journey with you as we focus on not just building systems, but keeping the people who make those systems work.
Absolutely. So if you're a real fan member, let us know what kept you resilient in the work this week. And if you're joining us for the first time and are wondering who are the Resilience DoctHers,
we are very glad that you asked. We are best-selling authors, children's book authors, award-winning educators, and speakers who transformed our schools after improving our report card ratings 2 and 3 levels in 1 year with our amazing staffs.
absolutely. And after we improved our schools with those levels in 2 and 3 years with our amazing staff members, a lot of people started to ask, well, what did you do differently? How did you do it? And that became the development of the REALL framework that you see at the top of the pane and over our shoulders. So the REALL acronym stands for Respect, Excellence, Accountability, Literacy, and Leadership. And we work with schools all over, helping them align their work to our framework, putting in the improvement strategies, especially if there's a status that exists to help you eliminate that status that you don't want to be under, and making sure that you are improving in the areas that are needed. We are very excited to be going to Maryland this summer to work with a leadership team, and we're working with them on their ATSI designation. So if you are looking for help in that area, we can definitely come in and help you. If you need children's book authors, as Tammy stated, please make sure you give us a call.
Yes, we definitely are your girls. And if you are not able to bring us in person, just keep tuning in to the Real Academy with us each Saturday morning, where we've impacted over 300,000 educators and about 7 million students, all through our free Fantastic Four PD that starts off each Saturday morning at 10 a.m., which has been deemed as Super Saturday by Principal Kafele. And we start at 10 a.m. with our brother in this work, Principal Sean Hurt, who was back this morning and doing his thing. Hey, welcome back, Principal Cafe. I'm sorry, Principal Hurt. Then at 10:30, we are on with you ourselves here in the Real Academy, Shika and I. And then following us at 11 a.m., the leader's mentor, the GOAT of all things educational leadership, in the new principals in AP Academy, we have Principal Kafele. And then on Sunday evenings, we round out our Super Saturday, Sensational Sunday weekend with our PGP podcast with Dr. Marty Moreno and Principal Josh Tovar.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tammy. And normally I have this prepared, but I forgot that I went back out. So if you have not picked up your copy of Amir's Awakening, please make sure that you do. We are excited to be establishing some visits here locally at one of the colleges where they are interested in making sure this book gets into their multicultural library. And we're going to be reading to some students there. And I also wanted to shout out my youngest baby. Last week I shouted out the oldest. She's pictured here in the front. I said on my Facebook post that I'm not only a band mom because the oldest plays the trumpet, but I'm also an orchestra mom. The youngest here, she plays the violin. So shout out to her. She's first chair. They did an amazing job. And shout out to the oldest again. She also completed her program through AHEC. She wants to be a GI tract surgeon. So this was her capstone project, a part of it. Know your gut, making sure that people understand how to take care of their gut. And she's pictured here with the keynote speaker who is an obstetrics doctor. So she really motivated them, giving them insight into the behind the scenes of being becoming a doctor, the MCAT exam. And we want to shout out Brandon, who is backstage putting all your comments up. He was recognized by their superintendent in their area for his service, and among multiple other things, because he is a truly great student and a great scholar. He's in band. He wants to be a future engineer. So we know that with his dedication, with his drive and his hard work, because he shows up on 10:30 on Saturdays, and it's even earlier where he is because the time zone is different. We know that he will accomplish all of his goals, and is just a great young man. So shout out to Brandon, who does a great job as our platform engineer and has a great future ahead.
Definitely.
And shout out to Miss Gore. She is the mental health counselor at Great Falls, in the Great Falls area. Her team, they have a club for mental health where they're trying to erase the stigma amongst students around making sure your mental health is taken care of. So she had a mental health week, spirit week, and so I was one of the visitors. I got to speak to students about what we could do to make their day at school better. So I got a lot of different requests, from making sure we had a bike rack put in to making sure it's a mirror in the bathroom. So I told them those are all things that I can handle. Things that I can't handle, I gave them the reason why behind. So it went really well. And lastly, just make sure, if there's a number of people coming on board with my sister and I, at the Elizabeth Nelson in Wellness and Weight Loss. Is 6 weeks to summer. So one of the best ways to be your best self is to making sure you're putting in the work to being your best self. So we have a webinar on our website that you can watch that helps you understand our program, and we would love to have you aboard. I am down 17 pounds now. And so the 6 weeks, it really targets what it needs to, and gets rid of that hormonal weight gain that a lot of times is hard to lose. So did you have any announcements, Tammy?
No announcements, just happy Mother's Day to everybody this weekend.
Okay. And thank you. And let's get to our shout outs. I know Brenda has put up most of the comments. So I see Miss Constance Sherrard from Pearl, Mississippi. Thank you for joining us and keeping us shared on LinkedIn. Mr. David Bell out of Benton Harbor, Michigan. Thank you for joining us. Coach McKeever Jeter, we always appreciate you. She keeps us all shared and tags all of the people. AP Patrick Lawrence in Connecticut, we always appreciate you. Thank you for joining us. Stacy L. Joy out on the West Coast, thank you for joining us. And as Tammy stated, our brother in the work, Principal Sean Hurt, is back at it this morning, and he did a phenomenal job as usual. LaKenya Rowland from New Jersey, thank you for joining us. We always appreciate you. Dr. Joe Griffin, who also does this work, thank you for joining us. Our other brother in the work, Principal Josh Tovar, he was showing out last week, trying not to do what we said, not listening, but we know he gonna listen today. Thank you for joining us, sir. Dr. Melissa Jones Chunu, thank you for joining us. And Dr. Michelle Perkins Griffin, who is the mom of Brandon. Thank you for joining us and allowing us to sharing him with us on Saturdays. Dr. Edwin Garcia, we appreciate you. Thank you for joining us. Principal L, thank you for joining us, who's also a doctor as well. We appreciate all the work that you do, and thank you for that Happy Mother's Day shout out. Principal Kafele is here. We always appreciate you and all of the great work that you are doing, and looking forward to the Institute this summer in Savannah, which we are registered for. And we also announced last week about the Canada. We'll be presenting again in Canada at the Nova Scotia conference. So we'll be posting more information about that. And those of you who are interested in going, Jacqueline will get your information and give you all of the registration information. So that brings us to episode 246, Building a Culture People Don't Want to Leave. And in this time of season where we are in education, that's going to be your best bet, is to try to build that culture that people don't want to leave, because I promise you, the teachers and the people know that they really can go anywhere they want to go. And people are saying that they're doing these reference checks. I believe they do them, but they're sometimes they're like, you know what? They might do better over here, because that's how hard it is right now to find people in these education streets. So we're really going to try to help you to build that culture that really is going to make the difference in keeping your people with you. And we've talked about several things: systems, buy-in, belief. Today, we're going to talk about retention.
Yes, and y'all, that's the work that I do. So I want you to make sure you understand it is very important that you do create a place where people want to stay, because it's not just about whether or not you can find somebody, because Shika's right. Principal Hurt just said, you educators have options. So you might be able to find somebody, but who wants to have to create a new culture, because the culture changes, it shifts. When
Mhm.
people leave, people don't just come in and become a part of that culture. When the folks that are leaving played a major role in that. So cultures shift depending on who is present and who is helping you to implement those systems. So, what we want to make sure you understand this morning is you have to put in the work to make sure you're keeping good people in your building, not losing your best folks. Make it very hard for them to want to go, because we have to be honest. When we think about it, people aren't just leaving schools, they're leaving us. They're leaving environments. They're leaving the leadership in the building, the experiences that they get in leadership. They're leaving a lack of support. They're leaving inconsistent systems.
Absolutely, Tammy. You like Principal Hurt say you're talking good this morning. And to Tammy's point, when you add up the amount of money that you actually invest in people when they come to you new and you're trying to get them acclimated to your area, to your school, to the culture, it adds up to be a lot of money. And when you continue to have to do that over and over every year, it not only becomes financially exhausting, but it's mentally draining as well. And it's even demoralizing to your students and the rest of the people in the building who are committed to the building. I would say in my interview to people, I am not looking for one and done people. My children deserve to see people consistently show up for them. And I was intentional about making that statement because I wanted people to understand my students, what they had experienced, and the experiences I no longer wanted them to have. So retention is not about just contracts, it's about experience. And if your culture is strong, people definitely will stay. Like Tammy talked about those experiences. But if it's inconsistent, a lot of times they're going to go see if the grass is greener somewhere else.
Yes, they are. And what we want to make sure is that we're creating that space where people want to stay, because what happens is people stay in places where they feel respected, where they feel supported, where they clearly understand what the expectations are and they feel like they're able to meet them. And people stay where they feel like they are successful.
Absolutely. So you have to create those spaces to celebrate the success. I used to do that multiple times through my town hall meetings. I did it in my newsletter. I gave shout outs. I gave other people the opportunity to give shout outs because you want to recognize people for their work. You want to make sure your vision is clear. I had a whole vision meeting to make sure that was clear with everybody, the children, the parents, the staff. Everyone knew and contributed to the vision. It wasn't just my vision, we set it up. Support, you got to ask people what support feels like to them, because sometimes support for one person is it looks differently than another person. That's like the love languages. You got to ask the people what makes you feel supported, so you have to ask the right questions. And when we align the real framework to this, that means just what we are stating, that the staff feels valued, that excellence shows up when those expectations are clear. This reduces stress. No one likes to try to, if you need an interpreter every time people leave a meeting, it's a problem with that. People need to know exactly what you're saying, and what you're saying actually needs to be something that you're moving forward with, that you're not just talking in theory and you're not just talking in circles. Some people talk, to hear themselves talk. You have to make sure accountability is there, that it's consistent, and that you, every time you turn around, are not coming up with something new and you hadn't even checked on the last thing you talked about last week. Literacy, it cannot fall on the shoulders of the reading and the ELA teachers. This is a full-time job for everybody. And if everyone doesn't have those strategies, it's your job as the leader to make sure everybody's leveled up, including yourself, because you have to lead the way and show people that you're invested in that work too. And then, of course, your leadership, making sure that you're supporting all of this is important, and you get support for yourself too, making sure that you have thought partners and you've sought out people that you can bounce things off of if no one in your district is someone that you feel comfortable confiding in and being vulnerable with.
Right. And that does happen.
Mhm.
Sometimes you have to reach outside of your immediate space to have someone to help you think through things. But one thing is for sure, if you experience that real framework in your school and you implement those things consistently, people are more likely to stay because those things that she could just talked about are crucial to making sure that staff members understand their value and the need that you have for them there to help you to actualize the vision that she talked about that everybody should be a part of anyway. In addition to that, when Shika's talking about that pontification that some of us do, that really is good for no one if what you're saying doesn't match with what you're doing. Because if what you're saying is out of line with what you're doing, people look at you like you're a fraud. And you don't want to be considered fraudulent in your own building. So you want to make sure that what you're saying is what you're doing and that there is no need for interpretation. Because if somebody has to come behind you and say, oh, well, what she meant was, that's not good for the system aspect of school. And one of the things that we wanted to just bring up today was how burnout is often what people blame when people exit their buildings, but burnout really is a system issue. Now, people blame that on workload because and don't get me wrong, you cannot just pile on to people and not take things away so that their workload does not make sense, because if you give people a workload that they cannot physically manage, you're going to lose them. But typically, workload isn't just a problem. What it's really about is that lack of clarity that Shika talked about, lack of support, whether that's in the classroom, whether that's with students' behaviors, whether that's with providing enough information so that everybody feels informed and clear about what's going on. Um, Too many initiatives. Like some of us switch what we're doing like a flashlight turning on and off very quickly, like, oh no, we're gonna go on and move to something else. That really throws people off their game sometimes. And the last thing that I'll say that I think adds to that feeling of burnout is when people feel like the expectations are inconsistent. Like, what is it that you really want from me? I did what you outlined for me, but now you're saying that you want it done a different way. You have to be clear with what the expectations are. Or you have a situation where teacher A is doing something, getting amazing observation, evaluation results. Teacher B is doing something completely different, getting amazing observation, evaluation results. And people are looking, thinking, now, which way do you want this? You have to provide clear and consistent expectations for the staff.
Absolutely. And you have to do that at the district level as well. I've always thought as a principal that the way that we have done the strategic plan was backwards. We have a plan from the top, but there's different needs all around the entire district at different levels for different schools. And so when you actually have alignment meetings with your school leaders, now we know the things that we can offer to help you support the vision for your school, because the visions will be different because there's different needs at every school, and we can align that strategic plan to make everyone fit into that, and we're supporting them in the right places. So sometimes we have to look at the leadership from that lens of how will I best support, and not from a positionality standpoint. Well, because I'm up here, everybody's going to have to align to me, because that doesn't always make sense for people. And that is also how we lose people. A lot of times we blame people leaving on the principal, when really what they leaving is a bad district who pushed down poor practices that no one bought into, not even the leaders.
And
So,
who's asking why the principal's leaving? Like, what's going on? Why did the principal leave? You do
exactly.
have to have those questions asked and answered.
Absolutely. So retention doesn't happen through just one big initiative. You have to have things like daily interactions, clear communication, consistent expectations, and ongoing support. Because if you're doing these things from the district level, you know then what your schools need.
Yes,
But if you
ma'am.
waiting until it's time to turn in the strategic plan, that's why you don't know.
Absolutely. People stay where they feel successful.
Absolutely. And you have to ask yourself, what does it feel like to work in our school? What does it feel like to work in our district? Those have to
Yes.
be
And be
intentional
honest with
questions.
your answer.
Yes.
Make sure you are honest with your answer and not delusional about how it feels. Not how you feel. How does it feel to work here?
That
Because
means you got to
retention is
ask
not,
somebody else.
yeah, it's just not about keeping people. It's about
Right.
creating a place that people do not want to leave.
Absolutely. So, we hope that something that we've stated today has helped you in your practice, helped you to think through some things, or maybe adjust some thought processes to help you retain those very important people that are helping you to knock it out the park, or that you're going to attract those people who will help you knock it out of the park.
Because they are out there.
They definitely are. And we hope that you all join Principal Kafele next in the AP and New Principals Academy. And then on Sunday, Josh and Dr. Marty Moreno will be on in the PGP podcast, and then right back here on Super Saturday, starting off with Principal Sean Hurt at 10 a.m. Yours truly, Create and Educate at 10:30, and the GOAT Principal Kafele in the AP and New Principals Academy at 11 a.m. So we hope that you all have a real amazing Super Saturday. Thank you for joining us.
Yes.
Take this banner down.